Ah, Shadowlands. For some, this World of Warcraft expansion went on way too long, but for me it wasn't quite long enough. This was the expansion that I started my WoW journey, and also the first time that I started playing the class that spawned this whole channel, Mistweaver Monk. It's fun thinking back to all the memories from my first expansion, like raiding in Castle Nathria or blasting through Torghast, but now that it's all in the past, what can we do with that content? Well, I've always been intrigued by challenge runs, whether it be speed running a niche game or nuzlocking your favorite Pokemon game, and I stumbled upon a similar genre in the World of Warcraft community one day when I saw Rex Troy soloing the raid boss Desanya. This formed an idea in my head to try and solo Shadowlands. Now, you're probably thinking, Chris, most tanks could probably solo a lot of the dungeons and raid bosses pretty easily, but I'm not a tank player. I'm a Mistweaver. So today starts the journey where I solo Shadowlands as a Mistweaver Monk. The idea is that we'll beat every mythic dungeon and see if we can take on some mythic bosses. This could be too ambitious of a task, but that has not stopped me in the past. Join me today as we start our journey in the mythic dungeon of Sanguine Depths. Why Sanguine Depths? I'm not really sure why I chose this dungeon for the first attempt, but I mainly just missed this place. So let's go ahead and address some of the elephants in the room. First, I'm not very tanky as a Mistweaver. However, the health pools being much larger in Dragonflight and some of the mechanics afforded to Mistweavers makes me really think that this could be possible. You see, Mistweavers are a healing spec, but they have some very important methods of healing that work very well here. To put it simply, we will be healing ourselves based on how much damage we do. This is important because it allows us to keep ourselves sustained while not stopping our DPS. This will help us move a lot faster in the dungeons and hopefully give me some sustain to survive the incoming damage. Now, some of you are probably wondering why it matters that we move fast, or you notice the giant timer in the corner of my screen. As most solo content relies on a slow and steady wins the race approach, this is very true and would make this content much easier, as I could pull just one pack at a time and easily survive its hits and mechanics, and finish each dungeon slowly but surely. But no, I do not want to succeed like this. I want to prove that Mistweaver is capable of so much more. It's for this very reason that I have implemented a self-imposed rule. I have taken the old Mythic Plus times of each dungeon and will attempt to beat each dungeon in that amount of time. Now, you've probably already noticed that we have definitely outscaled that rule in itself. So as of now, as of this moment, we're going to kind of change the rules. Starting after Sanguine Depths, we're going to try to speed run each mythic dungeon and see how fast we can take down the entire thing. I'll also try my best to beat enough trash in each dungeon so that if this were still a Mythic Plus dungeon, it would be 100%. Today, Sanguine Depths is the target, but join me as we seek to take down each Shadowlands dungeon and kill every Shadowlands boss in Soloing Shadowlands. Let's give this another shot. I've changed some talents around, gotten all the damage and movement speed that I can. I am ready to speedrun this. Let's go. That first attempt wasn't much of a limit test and was very boring. It's very clear that we can solo these mythic dungeons. It's just a shame that we can't put in keys and make them even harder, like an M15 for example. That would be amazing soloing content. However, what we can do is try to speed run them. So that's what we're going to try to do here, see how fast we can take down each dungeon as a Mistweaver. Now, I'll go ahead and spoil it. The raid fights are super exciting, so you will see a lot more raid episodes in this series, as a lot of those raid fights are a lot more challenging than these mythic dungeons. So you're not going to want to miss a single episode of this series. It's actually very fun going back and playing this old content, even though we just slam right through it. But these fights used to be so difficult. I mean, this fight in particular, I just remember struggling so much on. That first boss, we absolutely melted it. But in speed running, you're going to see me try to funnel my damage a lot. Right here, obviously spinning crane kicking would do the most maximum damage, but the thing that's going to die slowest is the boss. So I'm going to be doing all of my single target damage into the boss and then funneling blackout kicks off the guys around it to try to just improve my single target damage. Alright, I'll shut up. Let's play the music again. I absolutely hated this boss whenever we'd progress. It did so much damage, you'd need so much healing to get through it, and it was basically what stopped you from pushing super high keys. But now we come into my favorite part of the dungeon. This was traditionally a gauntlet. These ads would just keep spawning at you and you had to just barrel your way through them or you would be overwhelmed. I really loved this portion of the dungeon. However, in speedrunning, it definitely slows you down a ton. General Crawl does exactly that. She crawls. You have to basically babysit her through the hallway. You can't just run all the way to the end and her follow you. It would just slow you down a ton. So that is why you see me take this slow. I want to go ahead and let you guys know that I have a lot of ideas for this series. Very cinematic things planned for some of the raid bosses. So let me know if you like this editing style for some of the mythic dungeons, because the dungeons are probably going to be the hardest for me to edit and find a style for. But overall, we're still making good time. I think we could have done a lot better through that last section of the dungeon, but let's see where we can finish off. So there you have it. We were able to solo speedrun Sanguine Depths in 8 minutes, 19 seconds, and 11 milliseconds. Not the fastest run. I definitely think there were some optimizations I could have made, but I think the talent changes that we made sped things up a ton. I'm very interested to see if any of you guys can beat this on your Mistweavers. Definitely record it and send it to me on Discord. I'm excited to see what the fastest Mistweaver solo speedrun Sanguine Depths run is. But guys, that's going to do it for episode 1 of Soloing Shadowlands. I've already recorded the Shriekwing episode. It's a ton of fun, very cool. I'm excited to get that out to you guys. But guys, this was heavily edited. I don't know if you guys noticed, and it took a lot of time to make, so I would really appreciate it if you like this video. Obviously, only do that if you actually like the video. But then subscribe to me if you want to see more content like this, if you want to follow along in the series, try to solo content yourself, or just want to see more of me and support my dream of being a full-time YouTuber. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Soloing Shadowlands. I'm excited to see you guys in the next one. Until then, take care.